Just before you begin coding on MarsCode, which is an AI cloud-based IDE, I would like to introduce you to some of the interesting features that this AI cloud-based IDE has to offer. So you will obviously need to sign up on MarsCode, and once you sign up, you'd be automatically logged in. So I'm just going to log myself in with my Google account, and it's automatically logging me into MarsCode. Once you log into MarsCode, on the left side here, you notice there's some interesting features, and I particularly like some of these features because they just make coding easy. For example, the first one I want to explore with you is the templates feature, and here you can be able to see different templates that you can use, programming languages and websites that you can use as templates to basically get yourself started. And the one that we're currently using for these tutorials is the Python template. And so there's so many options to choose from. Another interesting thing I like about it is that there's a documentation section where you can go and learn more things about MarsCode, especially the feature that I like the most, which is the AI assistant. Because if you get stuck in a code and you get stuck in your code and you can't figure out some of the things that you want to do, this AI assistant is excellent because it's an inline chat assistant, and it's also an extension chat assistant as well, which you're going to see. So this documentation area does have everything you need to know about the AI assistant, whether you're chatting with an AI assistant on the right side or you're doing an inline AI assistant chat. So other features that you can find here are tutorials if you want to get some more information about the cloud-based features and some other things that you can also have to help you out, get you started on MarsCode. I want to explore some of the things that I really like about it, and first of all, I'm going to go into the project section. So here, if you want to create a new project, obviously you click on Create. Another interesting thing about it is that apart from creating projects from templates, you can also import your own Git repository if you have one. So you can basically just click on this, and then you can just click on Authorize Active Repositories, and you can import it or even from a URL. Now, I'm going to just do an example here, creating a template on Python, and I'm just going to call this program test so we can explore some of these interesting features on MarsCode. Now, once you click on Create, it's just going to create for your Python program, as we're already going to do for our programming scenario. And then the AI assistant feature I was talking about that usually appears as a side AI chat or as an inline chat, and how useful it is that you just click on it or it automatically opens. You can basically ask anything that you have, inquiry for. So for example, if I'd ask a question of, I would go with perhaps explain, or you could go with generate, whichever one you want. And if you click on generate, you can say, for example, it just gives you an example of a bubble sort algorithm here. And you can go back and just click on the delete option and it takes you back to the main menu. You can click on explain if you're not sure about a code and just basically say, what does def, for example, calculate, do? So you could do something like this and say num1 plus num2. I mean, you can basically just ask anything and the AI just provides you with an instantaneous answer. It at least gives you a hint of what you're trying to do, and it just helps you a lot. So you can see here it's giving me a very good hint of I could create a function with parameters, and I can just add those parameters as my numbers onto this variable and return a result. So that's like how awesome this AI is, and it just helps you. You can just put one keyword and it just helps find you whatever you're looking for, at least give you a hint. And of course, you can always go back again to the main menu. Just click on delete, it takes you back, and you can even generate documentation for any selected code you have. Another thing I like about it is that, when you go on the main.py, and of course you delete all this info that you have here, and then you actually start typing things. For example, you print and say, hello everyone, for example. The inline AI chat, what it does is, for example, if I have a question or I need some help on something, I can use an inline AI chat. So for example, if I do say something like name, for example, and I put like equals to string str input, I'm just saying what's your name, you can get like information about something, about an inline chat. For example, you can say create, or you can even do something like ask user for color input. You can have a very instantaneous suggestion here as well on what you need to do. And it just gives you an example. For example, here you can see it's replacing it with color instead of name because I'm just selecting this area or this part that I want help with. So you can accept suggestion and that would just implement it for you. It's giving you a suggestion of how it's going to look like if it does implement it, or you can reject suggestion and, type in something else. So it works in that way. And then another interesting thing I like about this so much is that I can replace text. For example, if I wanted to replace name with color, for example, I can go over to the replace text option. And by the way, there's some interesting things over here as well. The source control, you can deploy, debug, and so much more that you can do as well. So yeah, so there's so many things. There's more actions. And then here you can basically get some more settings, as I mentioned. And then here you can even create a new chat. And then here you can search. And this is what I meant about replacing text. For example, if I just said enter name or enter color name, and while you're coding, you just realize that, oh, I want to change a variable from one to the next. I can just find that variable and, for example, name, and I can just replace it with color instead. And you can see it shows me right here how the replacement is going to work. And once I click on replace all, it just tells me that there are 3 occurrences where names being occurred, and then I can just replace it. Of course you might not want to say enter color name, but just enter color, for example, and then you get it replaced. So that's another interesting thing about this features on MarsCode that I really like. And there's so many other things that you can explore as well. You can go onto this drop down on MarsCode and you can basically, of course, you have to save your program before you run it, but you can also duplicate your workspace, do other things like replace, like I said, text. You can make your selections view. And one important thing is if you want to download, of course, you can right click and download very easily your program to your computer, and it does download for you successfully. So it's a pretty interesting platform, and we're going to be using it for all our tutorial videos, which makes me excited of what we are going to be doing on MarsCode. So now let's move on to our coding section. So once you've successfully signed up or logged in on the MarsCode website, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on project so we can create our new program. Once you click on project, you're going to select the template as Python. So you can type it here in the search bar, or you can just select it from here as well. The name of our project is going to be called Trigonometric Solver. So just write that down here. And then once you're done, click on create. Now it's going to be opening for your project file. So that's where we're going to be coding in. And once it opens it for us, then we can start coding. Remember, the objective of creating this program is so that we can be able to help users find the missing sides of a right-angled triangle using trigonometric ratios, which involve sine, cosine, and tangent. What I will do is I'm going to close this side here, this sidebar, and then I'm going to open up this main.py, double click on it, and it will open for you where you're going to be programming. Now you can select everything that's in here and just delete it because we're going to be programming in this main.py area. So we don't need all of that code. The first thing we're going to do to be able to create this program is we're going to be importing time. And the time library, as we've already seen, is just used to create those time pauses. So we need that in our program to make it a little bit more realistic. We're also going to import math, the math library, because we are going to be using trigonometric ratios like sine, cosine, and tangent. We definitely need the math library. The next thing you want to do is we're going to be creating a function which basically would be responsible for getting this program to work. Inside of this function, we want to be able to put nice ASCII art and also ANSI escape color codes just to bring the aesthetics of the console a little bit more alive. So the website links that I gave previously in the tutorial, if you go to those links or if you search online for converting text to ASCII art, you're going to get this website called onlinetools.com. So you can just search that up and you get this website where you can type in the text. What I want to do is type a simple text that's just going to make this look aesthetically pleasing on the console. So I'm just going to type something like math. Okay, and by default, when I type in math, it does have this banner as its as the font. So if you go onto the font selection down here, there's different type of fonts for this ASCII art. You got to select the one you want, but I would suggest just go with banner. It's a standard one. It works really well and it looks really nice as well. So you can type any text you want here. I just decided to type math because I think it's cool to just say math, since it's like creating a trigonometric solver. It does relate to math. So that's going to be my ASCII art. And what I'm going to do, or what you need to do as well, is just copy your ASCII art. You can also just click on copy to clipboard right here. And once you do that, you just click on copy to clipboard and it's already copied for you. You have to go back now and you have to paste what you just copied. So right click. If you don't find the paste, you can do a Control V and then it's just going to paste it for you. Oops, that didn't copy well for me. So I'm going to try it again. You can just right click and copy it yourself. And then I'm going to go back and paste it in. There it is. So once you've copied it, you have to make it look like the ASCII art that you've copied. So if you're not really sure how it's looking like, you can just go back and have a look at how it's supposed to be shaped. So basically what's supposed to happen is that these things are all in one line. You have to make sure it looks exactly like what you've seen. And then you have this letter A. So mine doesn't look exactly like an M. I do need to have these 3 hashtags in sort of like the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it back to what I had in the beginning, and then I'll just paste it again. And then I think easily what I will do is I'm just going to shift these ones with my spacebar like that. So because they all align and, under each other. So this is kind of how I'm doing it. But remember, you're still going to do the print statements, so you might not want to do this because with the print statements, once you put them in, you're going to automatically space this anyway. So yeah, you see how it looks like? It looks like math now. But what I'm saying is that once you put in print statements, like I'm going to put print, obviously you should know that when you're dealing with functions, right? When you define a function, you should put everything spaced in. It shouldn't be on the same lines where you define the function. They should be spaced in. And that's the reason why you have this, we call it indentation right here for the print statement. Now, how you're going to print your ASCII art is just by putting, quotation marks at the start and at the end. And then same thing happens for each line. You're basically just printing each line with quotation marks at the start and at the end. So you can see me doing this. And now I'm going to print this line as well. I also want to put colors, so I haven't forgotten about the fact that I want to put ANSI escape color codes. We learned about that. And we said it does improve the aesthetics as well of your console, just making everything look nice as well. So I'm going to put color, and I also want to put an ASCII art of a triangle, a right angle triangle to be more specific, because I feel like this is about trigonometry and it's dealing with triangles. So it's just going to make everything look even better. So right now I'm on my print of my second to last ASCII art statements, and I'm putting the quotation marks. And then here I'm also going to do the same thing. Now, once you've done the same thing, everything kind of falls into place. If you've noticed, you notice that all of my, symbols for hashtags, they all fall into place and it does look like math. So I don't necessarily need to do anything. Now, once you're done with your ASCII art, if you want to put some more ASCII art, you can go ahead and do so. Now you know how to do it. You just have to type in your text and then choose the type of font you want. And then your ASCII art would appear. And then, of course, you have to copy it and then come back and paste it inside of your program and print every single line of your ASCII art. The next thing we're going to be doing is I want to put some ANSI escape color codes, and there are so many colors to choose from. There's 256 colors. So I'm going to choose a nice color for my ASCII art. And I feel like I'm going to go with, it's like a little bit hard to choose. So I'm going to go with 47. It kind of looks like a light green, and then we'll see how it looks. So if you want to put the color, any color you like here, these are all of the numbers that you would use to put in the color. Just make sure you follow this format. You can copy the format right here. This is for text color. If you want to put background color, there's a specific format for it as well, which you just have to copy. So I'm not going to put background color. I just need text color. So I'm going to copy this format. Go back to my code, and then I'll do it at the top because I want the color to apply to this ASCII art. So here, I'm just going to put the color. You just put your print statements, and you just paste that code, that like format. remove this thing that says color code and then just put the number of the color you like for the text. So I'm going to put, I said I was going to put 47. So I'm going to put 47 right next to my M. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And it's going to apply the ANSI escape color code for you on your ASCII art. So let's check it out and see how it looks so far. Now, one thing you should do is always remember to save your program. So you would go to File, and then you would select Save. So just click on Save, and it's just going to save your program for you. Now, when you click on Run, let's see how this looks like. It's going to run your program, compile it, of course, and then run it for you. And then it's going to show you your program. So just remember to click on Save so that it works perfectly. Oh, one thing I made a mistake in is before you actually run this program, remember we talked about calling the function. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And that's what's happening here. When I click Run, you can see that nothing is running. So I'm going to kill and clear this console area, this terminal area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the function right at the end. So you got to write start. That's how you call your function. Put the name of your function and make sure it's on the same line as where you define the function. Now you can do a Control S or Command S, which is also save, or you can go back here and go to File and click on Save. Now when you click on Run, it should be able to compile and show you your ASCII art. And there it is. And you can also see my colors being applied properly as well. So that's the first step on creating our trigonometric solver. We've put our ASCII art, and I wanted to put one more ASCII art as well. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a time.sleep. Go back into your function. Make sure the start is the very last thing that you have in here. We're going to need it at the end, so just keep it at the end. And then go back into the function right after this ASCII art, and I'm going to print a nice, another ASCII art of a right-angled triangle. So what I want to do is I want to change my color. I'm going to go with like a color that I believe this time for my triangle, right-angle triangle, I feel like I'm going to go with the red color. So remember what you have to do is just copy that format from this website. And I also gave this website during our tutorial, but you can go in there and just search it up and you'll be able to find it online. So copy this format as well. And then once you copy the format, go back into your program. And I'm just going to paste it over here and then take away the part that says color code part. And then just basically put the number that would correspond to give you the color you want. The color I want is 9, which basically means red color. So I'm going to take that out and put 9. So that means I'm going to be getting this in next thing that I'm printing would be in red color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print and then I'm just going to put another nice random ASCII art, but I'm going to use asterisks to kind of separate this one from the next one. And also one important thing that you could do is you could put a time.sleep. You could wait for about a second before displaying the next ASCII art. So I'm putting it on line 12. I'm going to put a time.sleep, which is the reason why we imported the time library in the first place. I'm going to wait for 1 second, and after 1 second, I'm going to be printing my next ASCII art, which is going to be the right-angled triangle. Well, for the right-angled triangle, you can quickly do that yourself. I'm going to use this bar from your keyboard, so it's a bar symbol. So this is kind of how I'm going to be creating my right angle. I'm going to use a bar and sort of like a open parenthesis. So I'm going to do that. You can just copy this instead of printing it on single lines and then just paste it. You see what I'm trying to do and just, space it a little bit more out. And it just creates that really nice right angle triangle. So this third one, you space it twice like that. And then the fourth one, you space it like 3 times, just a little bit in front because you're trying to form that right angle triangle. And then you could just, make use of the AI help on this platform. And then I think this is fine. So what I'm going to do in mine is I'm going to close this. So this is okay for me as for right angle triangle. I'm going to use the underscore to kind of like form that closing part of this triangle. So sort of like this. So it looks like a right angle triangle, right? Sort of. If you don't want to use the underscore, you can also use the hyphen. That also works really well. And I think even the hyphen would be much better because it does look like it's actually closed. So I'm going to use the hyphen for this instead of an underscore. And it does look really nice. So now if you try to run your program, I'm going to take away this extra part here. So if we try to run this program and see how it looks, it should look perfectly well for a right angle. It kind of looks like the right angle. It's not perfect, but it kind of depicts the right angle triangle. So again, you will do Command S or Control S, which is to save your program. And then don't forget to kill this, terminal so that you can clear it and see the run of your new set of code. So I'm going to click the running button and then here it is. And you can see after 1 second, it does show me my right angle triangle. So those are the two ASCII art, features that I would like to include. I'm going to take my terminal down here and I'm going to just kill it. Now that we've included all what we want, I'm going to also put a time.sleep for about a second wait, and then I'm going to start the function of my program. So for this trigonometric solver, what we're trying to do is provide users with the opportunity to be able to find the missing side of a right angle triangle using trigonometric ratio. Now, first thing I want to do is I'm going to change the color again. Yes, I love changing colors, but you don't have to do this. You could just stick to the same color if you prefer. But I want to change the color one more time because I want to print a welcome message and then ask the user which side they would like to find. So I'll go back and I'll check the color I want. I perhaps might try 219, the sort of like light violet color, and see how it looks like. So remember, what you have to do is just change it over here, put the color number that you like, and then it will just reflect the color for you. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to print a nice welcome message. So I'm going to do something like, welcome to the trigonometric solver. Okay, so this is really important to, you could capitalize each first letter. So welcome to, and then trigonometric, and then solver. Of course, this would just make everything look fine and nice. And then afterwards, I'm going to go down to the next line, and then I'm going to continue from here. I'm going to put that nice ASCII art that we used, like, at the, in line 14, but I'm not going to use asterisks. I'm going to use equal signs. So ASCII art can be formed with any symbol on your keyboard. Now, once you're done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is I like to use this time.sleep, wait another 1 second before it displays the next thing. So the next thing would be asking them what kind of side they would like to find. So I'm going to print, and then I'm going to put the color and see. So again, the color I would like, let me paste the format first and then change this color. You don't have to keep changing colors. You can just stay with one color if you prefer. I'm going to go this time with perhaps a yellow color. So I will go with 11 and see, because it's going to be a little bit brighter. So after that, the next thing we're going to do is move on to ask them what would be the, the side they would like to find out. So, but before we do that, I would like to give them a little intro about the sides of a right angle triangle, just so they understand better what the sides are. So if we talk about hypotenuse, we're talking about the side that's right opposite the right angle sign in the triangle. If we talk about adjacent, we're talking about the side that has the right angle and another angle. If we talk about opposite, we're talking about the side that just has only the right angle. So I want to give them a little intro, and I'm going to print a message saying, get to know the sides of the right angle triangle first. So I'm going to say, let's get to know the sides of a right angle triangle, okay, first. So afterwards, I'm going to come down here, and then I'm going to wait for about a second. Oh, you could also do this really nice ASCII art thingy. So I feel like I'm going to do it just because I've been doing it and it looks good. So I'll do this as well, and, all the way to the end there. And then I'll wait for another 1 second, and then I'll start talking about the sides. So I'm going to do a time.sleep. So you keep seeing that I keep putting this 1 second wait. And then I'm going to print the first thing here, which is hypotenuse. I'm going to say 1 hypotenuse, and I'm going to explain what that is. So it's the side where the right angle triangle in the triangle faces. Oh, it's the side where the right angle in a triangle faces. So it's the side where the right angle sign, you guys know the right angle sign. It's just like that small square that's in the corner of a right angle triangle. So it's the side where the right angle in the triangle faces. Okay, so that's it right there. So that's what I'm saying. Or you can say it faces opposite the right angle in a triangle. So you can also do that. It's an easier way to explain to them. The next thing I'm going to be explaining, of course, is the base, or we can call it the opposite side. You can also put it for them as base. Some people know it as base. And so this side is where only the right angle rests on. So the side where the right angle rests on. So this is the side where the right angle in a triangle rests on, because that's like where you're going to only see the right angle in a triangle. So there are many ways you can describe these sides. I'm not saying just go with this way. There are many ways. If you find a better way to describe the sides, you can definitely use it. The third one is the adjacent sides, and this is the side, of course, where we have both the right angle and another angle of the triangle. So the side where the right angle and another angle rests on, right? So that's the part here for adjacent. So the next thing we'll do is we'll basically ask or print out this trigonometric side solver menu where we can list out all the 3 sides that they can find with this program, and they decide which side they want to find. So what I'm going to do after I do this whole intro to the different sides of a right angle triangle, I'm going to print another ASCII art right here again, which just makes it look nice in its display. And then I'm just going to straightforward go into that trigonometric solver menu that I was talking about a few minutes ago, and then just give them the chance to choose which side they want to find. So what I'm going to do, again, you know already, I'm going to be putting, again, another nice color that I want to display that trigonometric menu in. So this is going to be really colorful and nice. I just like colors, and I feel it's just going to bring a nice aesthetic aesthetic feel to the console. So the color I'm going to go with this time, I feel like I'm going to go with like a lighter color. So I might go with 15, just get it to white and see how that looks like. So I'll just change this 219 to 15. And then I'm just going to print that title that's going to say trigonometric solver menu, something like that, where I'll just do something like maybe just some like 3 asterisks over here. And then, so trigonometric, and then I'll just write like solver menu. And then here afterwards, I'm just going to give them that option where they can choose what side they want to solve for. So I'm going to go with like print, and then the first one, I'll go with hypotenuse. So I'll just write hypotenuse in here. And then the second one, I'll go with the opposite or the opposite or the base side. So just put that as well. And then the third one would be the adjacent side. So I'm just going to write 3 adjacent. All right, so once that is done, then I just allow them to find what side they want. We can also do exit if you like. You can also add another menu option where if they hit a number or any symbol, whatever you want on the keyboard, it just exits the program, because this is going to keep repeating itself. At the end, you guys are going to see that we're going to add the part where we ask them, are you ready to start? And as long as they say yes or something like that, we will call this function. But every time it will ask them, whenever they find a side, it will ask them at the end, are you ready to start, or do you want to use this program again? And they would have the option that would say exit, and if they would say exit, then it will just exit the whole program. So the exit might come in handy at the end, because then it would just be a way how the program could be ended. So I'm going to put the ASCII art again here, and then I'm going to put a time.sleep right here. That's just going to wait for about 1 second. And then now I'm going to give them the opportunity to enter the side they would like to find. So I also want to print this in a different color, and I feel like I'm going to go for a blue color here. So I'm going to go back to that color table again, and I'm going to look for a nice blue color. So I feel like I'm going to go with something like 20 or 19. I'm going to go with 20. So I'm going to change this one to 20. All right. And if you, another good thing I would suggest that you do is when you code, as you code, it is a good idea to kind of run the program and see how everything is working so far. So if you do a Command S or a Control S at this stage and you just click on run, so let's do the run and see how everything works. You can take your terminal way up to see everything. So you can see that we have this different display of color that just makes everything look so cool. I feel like it's just the trigonometric solver menu that I might just adjust a little, because it kind of looks like the asterisk is spacing out. But other than that, this is kind of what we have so far. So we have the ASCII art for math, we have the right angle triangle, we have the display of welcome to the trigonometric solver, we have all the other sides that we've given them information about, and now we're giving them this menu where they can choose which side they would like to find. So what I want to do is adjust a little. In terms of my trigonometric ratio, I think if I take it backwards, it's just going to look way better. So I'm going to kill this terminal, and then I'm going to run it again. So here's the kill part. The delete is like a trash icon. And then I'm going to run it again one more time just to see how it looks like now. So we have the math ASCII art, we have the right angle, we have the welcome, and then, yeah, it kind of looks way better than before, so at least it's not spaced out. So I think everything we've done so far does look like a nice display. And what we have to do now is just give them the opportunity to answer and to say which side they would like to find. But we also have to consider the fact that there should be some sort of validation. What validation means is that we should make sure that they don't choose anything other than 1, 2, 3, or 4. So when you're programming, you've got to think of ways how you do data validation or verification. So what are some methods you can do? So there, we're going to be finding out soon. I'm going to create a variable called side to find, and then I'm going to allow the user to choose which side they would like to find. I'm going to use an int data type because we gave them options as numbers, so they would have to choose from 1 to 4. So I'm going to say input, and I'm just going to say your choice. I'm just going to say enter your choice. Okay. And then I'm going to come down here and then I'm just going to do a validation. This is what we call, I'm going to put it as a comment actually. So this is called data validation / verification. And what we're doing is we're just making sure that the data entered is actually correct. How do we do that? I'm going to use the while loop and I'm going to say while the side they enter to find is not in. So remember, we're using logical operators as well. So while the side they enter to find is not in the options that are actually available that we've provided them, which is 1, 2, 3, or 4, as long as they're putting something that's not in there, we're going to always tell them that you're entering an invalid side and you should enter the proper option. So we're going to print a message, and I want to actually play with emojis here so you can get a cool emoji and it actually works. So what I'm saying is, if you type in the message, so first of all, I'm going to type in this message in yellow, in red color. I feel it just gives that warning fill. So I'm going to do this same thing again, you know, the 38, and then you can put that semicolon, 5 again, semicolon, and then just put the code for red color. So the red color code can be 9 or can be any kind of red color shade that you want. So I'm going to go with 9M, and then I'm going to print that message saying, don't forget to take out any square bracket at the end because there's no square bracket when you're putting that color format. And then here, I'm just going to print that message that says invalid choice, okay? So invalid choice. And one thing I want to do as well is I want to go back here and just kind of tell them what options are available to choose from. So you can say 1 to 4, right? Just to remind them that it has to be 1 to 4. Now, speaking about emojis, I want to go get a warning sign emoji. So you can just search that up, and what happens with emojis is you can just copy them and paste them in your program. So there are many different type of emojis that you can get. A warning sign could be like this one, a red exclamation sign. So just basically copy that and then go back to your program and just paste it in here. So I can take out the one I put in and paste it like that. So emojis do display the way that you actually, copy paste them. They show in that same way. Now, afterwards, after doing this, I'm going to go to the next part, which is where I would start. Because this is a while loop, you have to give them the opportunity to be able to re-enter the correct side again. So you can't just print a message and then leave it like that. You have to also repeat writing that side to find variable and then give them the opportunity to enter the side again so that the compiler can check one more time and see if the side is valid or not.